Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and however you're engaging with us. My name is Lassia Cahoot, Soul Excavator, and welcome to another Eat Well, Be Well Health Bite. Today we have another guest with us. We have Tracey Malanowich, who is an information and energy coach. Her business is I Light Services. It's actually right up there in the corner so that you can see. And I'm really looking forward to Tracey being here today because as we go through, we're now moving into the fourth week of the Eat Well, Be Well challenge this time around. And one of the things that people talk about quite often is not having enough energy, to get through the day, not having enough energy to do what it is that they want to do. Even though their to-do lists are like a mile long and they have all this stuff that they want to accomplish, they feel like they are just like bogged down in all of these to-dos and do, go, that this energy that they think they require to get all this stuff done seems somehow elusive to them. So that's a little bit about what Tracey's going to talk about today. And I'm just looking forward to hearing what it is that Tracey has to offer for us. So as we get started, Tracey, if you could just introduce yourself a little bit more than I just did so that people can familiarize themselves with what it is that you do, the kind of work that you do, and then let us know whatever it is that you want to talk to us about today. Okay?
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much for Alasia for having me on. And yeah, I'm really excited to share with people what I do because I think it's the key component that's missing in healthcare right now of all types. And so everyone's trying to figure it out. What's the one thing that I need? And it's energy. And then it's you go to, where do I get it? So for me, I've always believed in the 80-20 rule, the 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. And so when I look at when did I ever get things done, it's when I had the psychology to get it done. And so psychosomatics is one of the key things that I do, mind body, with a particular study in bioenergetics, which is the study of energy and living systems. So I take the psychosomatics, which is your thoughts and your body, and combine it with how the energy moves. And it seems to be the magic formula for my clients to get the energy to do what they need to do. So yeah, I want to talk about energy today because that's the biggest thing that people seem to always want more of, whether it's, how you drive your car or power your house or just to live and get excited about that. And my belief is energy comes from information. And that's where I go to that 80-20, 80% psychology. If you've got the right thought, you can get just about anything done. Everything starts in a thought. That makes sense.
Well, you know what? I would love to jump in here because as someone who is immersed in spiritual and consciousness studies, we're talking about energy all the time. Like everyone and everything is energy. And when we talk about how we are creating our reality by the way that we use our minds, the energy that comes through and filters through and impresses itself upon, subconscious mind, thoughts, ideas, whatever, show up as a different kind or form or denser form of energy as our life experience. So I'm so excited to hear, what it is that you have to tell us, because yeah, even the clients that I work with, one of the things that is constantly sort of the thing that I hear is just, I want more energy. I wish I had more energy. I'm feeling so low energy. I have all the stuff that I want to do, but I don't have the energy to do it. Yet we are energy. So what gives?
What could go wrong? Well, one, we can't see it. It's invisible energy to most of us. I mean, there's people that do see it. But so if you can't even see it, how can you even figure it out, right? It just becomes such a nebulous thing. So part of the work that I do is helping people see that unseen part, translating it and understanding it and making it seen. And I work with, like I said, different modalities that help you do that, and assessment systems. So you get energy both externally and internally. And most people are used to the external, the stuff they can see. We get from the sun, we get, a certain amount of energy, that warmth, that heat, right? We get from our food a percentage, and not as much as people think. They'd like to think so, but you can live weeks without eating, days without drinking, but moments without breathing. So most of the energy is in that invisible stuff. right?
Mhm.
And we don't even know what all's in it because you can't see it. And so that's where it gets confusing to people and they don't know where to begin. And so they tend to go to the denser modalities for answers, right? And they go to the food because they see that and it makes sense to them. So how do you make all of that woo-woo energy stuff make sense to people so that they take action on it? And that's where information comes in.
Mhm.
If you have the right information, it makes sense to you, right? You can't change what you can't measure. And if you have no way of seeing these energy fields and monitoring them or having some form of assessing them, then it just becomes too nebulous to people and it doesn't make sense. So, mhm,
So I was just going to say, so what can people do then? Because this is something, it seems so simple, yet it also seems so elusive. So what, I mean, a lot of people, you just use the term woo woo, which I look forward to the day when woo woo, it doesn't mean woo woo. Like it just, because there, I mean, if you just think quantum science, I mean, everything is energy. And so to sort of, ascribe to this kind of like, oh, magical, mystical, I don't quite know what's going on sort of thing, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean it isn't happening. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So let's just like get that out of the way. And then how can people then stop sort of focusing on the denser forms of energy, or the way that you said it, the denser modalities for answers?
mhm.
And I don't know what kind of language you use, but, tune in or align or open up to, or be more receptive to whatever it is that people need to do. How do they do it so that they're vibrating at a higher frequency, or are more receptive or open, or tuning into that, what I call is like the infinite power, creativity, and resilience that they inherently are, rather than this is what's going on around me, these are the feelings I'm having, these are the cravings that I'm having, so I'm going to like, just respond to that automatically. So how do we do it? Lots of questions there.
Where do I start? Let me see. Let's see. Great questions, and I'll try to go and start with them. One, it's only woo woo if it hasn't been explained yet. So once we know how something works, it doesn't seem like that anymore.
Yeah.
And the truth is, it has been explained,
Yeah.
but the information hasn't been disseminated to enough people yet for it to become regular and mainstream.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Like you said, quantum science is there, and they've decoded the human body field, or the aura. So you can call it the aura or you can call it quantum science.
Yeah.
And they already know this. It's already been done, and it's been done multiple different ways. So that's one of the things. I work with an assessment system that decodes your entire body from your voice, because your voice is frequency, and the amount of information that your voice carries. Most people know they can walk into a room and they're either drawn to someone or drawn away from someone. They
Mhm.
don't even realize on multiple levels they are reading energy already. They just weren't taught that's what they were doing.
Wow.
So the beautiful part of it is, like I say, there are systems and it can be done. And then you also have to know there's toxicity and deficiency and ability. So we just talked about a little bit about that. You can walk into a room, you like someone, you don't like someone, or you don't have that ability to discern. And
Yeah.
so when we're talking about our energy and all the actions we take, we have to understand that there's these patterns to how we work with energy, and we have to know, you know, what that means when I feel that. And some people, even though they feel like they don't want to be around that person, they're still drawn to them for some reason,
Right.
right? And just to figure that out and decipher that. And that's, again, it's a pattern, and that's a thought pattern. So that's where I'll go back to, the information
Mhm.
is so key. How you've been instructed and told and accessing that. So information is just a thought. And so the thought is like that starting point. And with that thought, your body creates, like you talked about a little earlier too, the denser stuff. Your body literally takes a thought and turns it into a chemical. So
Mhm.
that is going from the ether, the thought out here, into a physical molecule in your body.
Mhm.
All those neuropeptides, those emotions, they send this cascade that is a physical feeling. That's why we break out into a sweat and we get nervous or we do this, right? We're constantly doing this. We've just never looked at it that way and went, oh, yeah, I am. I'm creating all the time from a thought, physical body. So you're
Mhm.
either creating it in a deficient state or an elevated state.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is energy? And I would say energy is emotion. Energy is emotion. And when you understand that, you can create from depleting emotions. Anger, you can get shit done. Like I've used it, I've done it.
Yeah.
I keep doing that, though it's not a very fun ride, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I can do it from joy of, passion for what I love to do. And that energy, that'll sustain me a way longer time. So I could go days without eating. If I'm really excited, I'm not even hungry, right? I'm
Yeah.
in that good, elevated emotional state. So when you can look at it and understand what's going on in your body, when you have ways of assessing that, then you can see where the toxicities are. So I'll call toxicities sometimes depleting emotions, not always. They're messengers, right? And they have a very beneficial effect of warning you, don't go near that person in that room. That energy is not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't be tuned in, and that's that assimilation part, that's that ability part to read if that was a good energy for you or not, then you might play around there for a while and you might keep doing those same things. And when you start doing the same things, the physical part that you've already created, the body, it craves that same fuel. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know anything else. So you keep
Yeah.
eating potato chips, you keep craving potato chips.
Yeah.
It's the same emotionally. You keep feeding your body anger, it keeps asking for anger, and you'll find reasons. And I mean, these are all spiritual principles, right? Almost like law of attraction, but it's more than that. It's such a pattern that is so strong in everything that we do. So that's what I would call like a fractal reality, where you can call it law of attraction, but the truth is it's just a rule. And like is going to be like. So you plant an acorn tree, it's going to grow an oak. And it's always going to be that way because this is the reality that we live in. So we're these little generators. And so when you're pulling from the oxygen, you're pulling from this imaginary field that you have that has so much more information in it that you have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why breath is so key and so important. You're pulling in molecules of you know even water in the air. When you're breathing and it's rainy outside, that humidity or that moisture, that you're pulling in some physical stuff as well. If you're smoking, you're pulling in some physical stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So on every layer, you have that ability to get a toxicity and a deficiency and what to do with it when it gets into your body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And as I'm listening to you talk, I mean, it makes me think, um, just sort of compare, what you're talking about and the work that we're doing in the group, the work that I do with my clients, and how awareness really is just such a key factor in being able to shift, in being able to step out of that super deeply ingrained groove that keeps the pattern going. There's a client that I'm working with right now, and we're using this metaphor or analogy of a groove on a record that is so deep that it's hard for the needle to like skip over to the next track because that groove is so deep. So, and it's just like, so it's been there, played so many times that it's almost impossible for the arm to just like skip over on its own, that something has to happen. So that arm is like moved over to start playing a new track, creating a new groove, whatever you want to say, continue with the analogy. And so the thing that everybody starts off with in the challenge is they start journaling and they start writing down so that they can get the thoughts and ideas and things that are going on in here out of here and onto paper, so they can start detaching themselves and realizing they are not their thoughts. And then the more they do it, if they do it consistently and they're really committed to it, is when they can start flipping back and start seeing patterns of behavior, patterns of choice, and then decide, is this something that is working for me? No. Okay, well then, unless I want to keep, doing more of the same and having more of the same, I have to do something different. So what's that going to look like now? And to me, I'm constantly reminding them that if we just rely on our thinking that has gotten us up to where we are now, we're just going to get more of the same going forward. So it really is about opening up to new potentials, to infinite possibilities. And I love how you were just talking about how when you're like breathing, because we're now like towards the end and breath is what we're focusing on, you are literally breathing in all of these infinite possibilities and all of this information, which is just amazing. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about more, or a little more about that if you could, because that to me is just fascinating, because becoming more mindful of how we breathe, is just like you said, we can't go very long without breathing, drinking, sure, food longer, but breath, I mean, it is critical, it is crucial. And I like to say and think that I am being breathed. So, like I want to tune into that rhythm and just allow for that rhythm. But I do have a body that I'm also, using. And so I want to use it as effectively as I can. So yeah. So tell us more about the breathing in of information and all of that infinitude around us, please.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you said earlier too, how, we're making this physical world. So when you're breathing in all of this unseen ability for information. It's like the scaffolding that creates this physical body.
Mm-hmm.
So you're breathing in all of that information. And even if you can't see it, it's still working for you. And it's always working.
Yeah.
For me, the work that I do is really to show you where that energy, all those energy pathways are, as much as I can, that quantum science has deciphered so far. So when you can see that, you can see on multiple levels, and it just makes it easier. So whereas journaling, you're getting it out and you're getting it seen, there are multiple ways to get out your entire body field, like your Chinese meridians and all the fields of all of your organs. And so when I talk about it being fractal, we've got like our bloodstream, but if you think of this as the bloodstream to your energy field out here, and you're just this particle in the divine, you're one cell, and within you, you've got trillions of cells. So how you're managing your energy will be directly related to how you're managing the intake of energy from outside.
Yeah.
Right? It's that fractal. Here you are, the little acorn. You think you're the tree, but you're not. So, having access to bigger and more energy is always going to help you, right?
Yeah. Okay. So then, and I know this is a very big loaded question. How do you help people to see, the energy that they're not seeing, to access, all of this potentiality that they're not accessing?
Yeah, so I have a couple of assessment systems. One is a bioenergetic system, and it has decoded. It decodes down to your meridians. It decodes down to 16 organ systems, because just like as an embryo, there's a pattern for how you physically develop. Your energetic field develops in a certain pattern as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's subsystems, and if your body field, this energy was a map, you start spreading it out and you see the towns, you see the roads between it, you see all the sub-helpers, you see all this shopping you get to do, you see all the, choices that you have. But when you can't see it, it's harder to manage. So I have systems for assessing those things. And then we have a good look at them.
And so is this something then, like, do you actually scan with a piece of equipment, or like, is there something that gets spit out of a machine that people that can look at and learn how to decipher, or how does it work?
Yeah, so it's a voice assessment,
Okay.
because the frequency that's carried, everything's carried on the voice.
Okay.
That's like why you like people and why you don't. You can tell by the intonations, your body. The systems I use don't do anything that the human body nervous system doesn't do. It's just you were never taught how to use it. So
Right.
it's an owner's manual to that energy field. And the more aware of it you become, then the more you're able to use it too. And you become more emotionally resilient and more able to choose and be the manager of that field instead of the reactor to that field.
Wow. Okay. And all of that from the voice.
All of that from the voice.
So then does it matter if someone like, are there different things that people have to do? Like, do they speak? Do they sing? Do they just open their mouth and make some noises?
10 seconds. You can count 1 to 10 if you want, or you can sing if you want, however you want to do it. Either way, your voice, the frequency that comes from your nervous system, it's there no matter what you're saying.
Okay, so now because we're talking the nervous system, does it matter then if someone is feeling a certain way when this test or this scan is done? Like if someone is, angry versus when they're like feeling super happy and confident and life is going swimmingly.
Yeah, well, it'll be reflected in the scan, but the deeper, longer term patterns will be reflected as well. So you could be happy today, but generally you might go around feeling, a little bit sad. Something happened in childhood and that's just always stuck with you and you haven't cleared that. And that will be picked up too. So definitely it's an honest imprint of that moment,
Yeah.
because it goes into so many deep layers. There's just no hiding it.
Yeah. Okay, so then if someone were to come to you and they were to get this done, then what would happen if they're just, like, my life is fine, but I know that it can be better. There's stuff that I have tried and I've gotten so far, but I just haven't been able to, like, get to that certain level or get over that hump or whatever. How is it that you would support people in that way?
Yeah, so if they don't have the energy to heal, then there's something there that needs to be cleared. So we go in, we do an assessment, we look at it, and I work with energy remedies. So remedies that will correct thought patterns.
Yeah.
Typically, there's about 28 different thought patterns that will hinder your energy field, and also correct a frequency. So we clear out what's not serving you, and we put in frequencies that are going to regenerate you. And people feel it almost immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Not having had the experience yet of working with you, I don't know exactly what it's like, but because we're talking energy, it just reminds me of the main technique that I use, which I was taught as a licensed spiritual practitioner, which is spiritual mind treatment, which is an activational form of affirmative prayer where the practitioner is like just vibrating at a certain level of consciousness, the highest level of consciousness, to know that no matter what's going on, no matter what's being felt, no matter what's being experienced in that moment, that the client, the person, whoever it is that is being known the truth for lack of a better phrase, is infinitely more powerful, creative, and resilient than any of it. And is, that the power that transforms the acorn into the oak tree, that is the infinite expansive universe, that is the power of the blazing sun, that is all of this beautiful information-rich oxygen around us that we can't hold or see, that is all of the infinite, profound activity that is going on within us, and all the interspaces in between that are as infinite as, what we see out there when we look through the strongest telescope. So yeah, that's and to just like stir that shit up,
Yeah.
and to really activate it. That's what it reminds me of, what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I always tell people I'm not doing anything, and I'm not giving you remedies that you can't do yourself, but you weren't taught. I'm giving you the owner's manual to what's going on. So now you can see it. And then when you can see it, you can actually do something about it. And so that's the difference.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, this has been such an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today on our Eat Well, Be Well Health Bite. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, I see that your website and your phone number are right there. Is there anywhere else that people could find you aside from www.ilightservices.com if they wanted to connect with you?
Yeah, I am on Facebook mostly, LinkedIn, and just reach out. My email is also the same, ilightservices@gmail.com. So it's very the same as the website. So yeah, reach out. Happy to have a 20-minute discussion and see where it's a fit.
All right. Okay, fantastic. Oh, Tracey, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you and your super valuable, precious time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another Eat Well, Be Well Health Bite. My name is Lassia Cahoot, Soul Excavator, and I too am on Facebook. I am on YouTube. There is my website, www.lassiacahoot.com, and I am just getting back into LinkedIn as well. So thank you for your time, for your presence. If you have any questions or comments, please post in the chat below and we will get back to you as soon as we can. That's it for now. Have a wonderful day and we'll see you again. Bye.
Thank you, Nancy.